First of all, I want to thank Peggy for my tie. I'm very happy with it. I intend to wear it regularly. Thank you.
I think she puts it back at the end, right?
I intend to wear it for the next 10 minutes. Right, I've cheated a little bit because my provocation is cribbed from some other people. I've been working for the last 3 weeks as The Guardian's comedy critic at Edinburgh, so I thought it would be in the spirit of that experience to provoke you from the direction of stand-up comedy. So at the start of the festival, I wrote an article. It was about the fact that lots of comedians are now doing theatre, especially at the Fringe. And so I wrote an article kind of asking, what are the differences between stand-up comedy and theatre? What can the two art forms learn from each other, and so on. So I thought I'd provoke you with some of the responses that my interviewees came up with. So this is a chap who you may know called Sean Dale Jones from Hoi Polloi Theatre. He's an actor this year he's doing a stand-up set. The really big difference is that theatre has a formality to it and a sense of earnestness and seriousness or intellectual weight or something like that. Whereas comedy can be serious and intellectually punch its weight. That sense of we're going to have fun is greater. Going to the theatre is almost like a duty. It's like going to school or something. Whereas comedy is we're going to have a night off and have a laugh. This is Phil Nichol, the stand-up comedian, who does a lot of, he's trained as an actor and does a lot of theatre at Edinburgh. What comedians have over actors, they're listening constantly all around them and are aware of what's going on in the room. The best comedians play with the atmosphere in the room. They're always in contact with the audience without even having to talk to them. With trained actors, there's a methodology that sometimes gets in the way of making things feel warm and spontaneous. With comedians, theatre doesn't seem so clinical. This is a playwright called Richard Bean, who's a big cheese playwright, but he used to be a stand-up comedian. Stand-up is a bloody good training in anything. It just gets you real. It teaches you pragmatic, practical skills of creating a piece of drama. Does it work? If it doesn't, we'll fix it. Precision, succinctness, a willingness to cut and to make the bloody thing work. It teaches you all that, rather than, and he visibly wrinkled up his nose here, rather than being protective of a piece of poetry. This is a stand-up comedian called Mark Watson, who's got a theatre show on the Fringe this year. The obligation to have the relationship with the audience that you have when you're a comedian is something that theatre could benefit from. Because theatre can offer up anything and isn't accountable to laughter, it can often come across as cold and uncaring about what its audience think. And then he goes on, many is the time I've been grateful as a stand-up that I can refer to the fact that I'm doing a show. I've often seen theatre when things go wrong. Live performance throws up any number of situations you weren't prepared for. And I always feel sorry for theatre people for not being able to refer to it. The self-referentiality of a comedy show allows you to ease the pressure on yourself and on your audience in ways that theatre struggles to do. And finally, this is Sean Holmes, the artistic director of the Lyric Hammersmith, who's directing a version of Trevor Griffith's Comedians, which is a play about stand-up. And Sean Holmes says, when you watch a really great comedian command a room, and when you see them go off-piste and they're playing off the audience, it's so exciting, isn't it? There's something about the way a really good comedian can sit within themselves and their material and ride the crowd and play them while seemingly make it all up. Which is what theatre's trying to do, isn't it? Theatre's trying to get to that place where it's like, this is just me, you can't see the joins. So the upshot of that article was that theatre seen in the context of stand-up comedy comes across as earnest, cold, unresponsive, and a bit like going to school. So whether we agree with that or think it's a cliche or fair, and I speak as someone who's been crawling on all fours through a desert of stand-up comedy, desperate to get back to the theatre. You know, it's our responsibility to do something about those perceptions. Thank you.